शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः. We chant together. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunattu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Manohid Vividham Proktam Shuddham cha shuddhameva cha Ashuddham kama sankalpam Shuddham kama vivarjitam Mana eva manushyanam Karanam bandha mokshayoho Bandhaya vishayasaktam Muktyai nirvishayam smritam. As we saw this morning, the problem of bondage and its solution are presented in the language of mind and its characteristics. It was said that mind is of two types, pure and impure, and purity and impurity of the mind is decided by the thoughts predominantly entertained. And which one is pure, which one is impure, that was clarified. Ashuddham kama sankalpam. Impure mind is that which has got kama, desires, and sankalpa, the fancies, predominantly present. Shuddham, pure mind is that which is free from kama, the desires. Here this morning we saw kama means desires, especially binding desires. And sankalpa means the fancy or fanciful imagination, shobhanadhyasaha, superimposing the idea of happiness, security, fulfillment on the objects, that is called shobhanadhyasaha. Shobhana means something beautiful, positive. Adhyasa means superimposition. And here we can see this more fundamentally, that shobhanadhyasa means superimposition of happiness, etc. on the objects is there because the objects are considered to be existing apart from me. I am giving this independent existence to the objects. I am attributing independent existence to the objects. In reality, they don't have. So, satta adhyasa is there, the superimposition of existence which really they do not have. Not only that, behind this superimposition of happiness and superimposition of existence, there is ignorance of my true nature. What is my true nature? My true nature is Ananda Swarupaha. Since I do not know myself to be Ananda Swarupaha, Purna Swarupaha, therefore I am seeking happiness, Purnata, fulfillment outside. If I already have enough vitamins in the body, I will not take vitamin supplements. In fact, toxicity will happen. So you not required. Why do I require supplements? Because body doesn't have. So when I conclude that I am apurnaha, then only the superimposition of happiness, security outside will happen. So behind this Shobhana Dhyasaha, the superimposition of happiness, security, fulfillment, what is the cause? This ignorance of my true nature, which is full and complete, which is ever secure, Abhaya Swarupa I am. And also, I have got the ignorance of the fact that I alone am existence. Existence does not belong to this Nama Rupa. Nama Rupas means names and forms are superimposed upon me. I am the truth. Of all the objects, no object has got independent existence apart from me. This fact is not known. Ajnanam is there. So behind Shobhana Dhyasa, there is Ajnanam of myself being Purnaha, myself alone being the Adhishthanam, Satsvarupa Adhishthanam. So we have to see Ashuddhatvam of the mind up to that level. Not only desire, there is Sankalpa also. Behind the desire, there is a Sankalpa. Behind Sankalpa, there is Ajnanam. Ajnanam of what? My Purna Swarupa. Ajnanam of what? Jagat being Mithya. The world does not have independent existence. I alone am independently existing. Everything else depends upon me to exist. That fact is not known. And therefore this adhyasa happens. So, Ashuddham mana is that which has got all this wrong thinking and not having right thinking. That Ashuddham. Shuddham is Kama Vivarjitam. Immediately speaking, the mind which is free from desires. And this freedom from desire can be relative and it can be absolute. Freedom from this desire and relative sense is person has got vairagyam. He has seen the limitations of all pursuits. So because of viveka, because of purity of the mind, he has got vairagyam. And thereby he can be called kama vivarjitam. His mind is kama vivarjitam. But this complete freedom from kama is when I discover myself to be limitless Brahma. Then only kama yesya hridisthitaha. Then only kama will go. Yada sarve pramuchyante kama yesya hridisthitaha. Tada martyo mruto bhavati atra brahma samastute. So here he becomes free when he discovers Purnatvam. So Shuddham, immediately speaking, free from desire. But finally it has got the idea of becoming free from desire based on the appreciation of oneself being limitless. All right. Now, this idea is further explained in this next shloka. Mana eva manushyanam. Mind alone. Manaha eva means mind alone. Karanam, the cause. For what? Bandha mokshayoho. For bondage. Bandha means bondage. Moksha means freedom. Mind alone is the cause for bondage and freedom. For whom? Manushyanam. For human beings. Because this bondage is there for other living beings also. but freedom is in Manushya Janma predominantly. Therefore, Manushyanam Bandha Mokshayoho. And Vedanta classes are attended by whom? Manushya. Not all Manushya, but who are attending are Manushyas, human beings. And therefore, here it is Manushyanam Bandha Mokshayoho Karanam. So, Manaha eva Manushyanam Bandha Mokshayoho Karanam Bhavati. One and the same mind becomes the cause for bondage and cause for freedom. But how one and the same thing can be the cause for bondage and freedom both? That question is answered in the next sentence. Bandhaya Vishayasaktam Manaha. So the mind which is Vishayasaktam, Asakta means attached, hooked. The mind which is hooked, the mind which is attached to Vishaya, objects, is Bandhaya, is the cause for bondage. In Sanskrit, Chaturthi Vibhakti, it is used for that in the sense of being the cause. Jnanam Muktaye Bhavati. So similarly here, Vishayasaktam Bandhaya means here we have to supply Manaha. The mind which is Vishayasakta, which is attached to the objects, is the cause for bondage. Alright. What does it mean? This Vishayasakta is a paraphrasing of this Ashuddham Manaha, having this Kama Sankalpa. So the mind which is Asakta, attached to the objects, and here object stands for people and situation as well. So the mind which is attached to the objects, people and situation, that mind is the cause for bondage. Now what do we mean by attached to something? We generally in Vedanta say that attachment is creating bondage. Other side we say that wise person loves everybody. Wisdom makes the person own up Purnatvam, limitlessness, and the owning up of Purnatvam gets expressed in the form of love and compassion. So while glorifying the wise person, we say he loves all. And for other people we say that people are attached to the objects, people and situation, therefore they are bound. So the question is that what is the difference between love and attached? People have this, especially family members, the people having family, they have got this issue. Swamiji in Vedanta, they keep on talking about detachment, vairagya, etc. So does it mean we should not love our children? We should not love our spouse? We should not love our parents? So it is not that when I say yes or no, you are going to do that. But still that question comes. Shouldn't we love Swamiji? Yes. You love them, but attachment is injurious to your spiritual health. Like say no cigarette, so similarly injurious to your spiritual health. Statutory warning, spiritual warning, that this attachment is injurious. Okay. What is the difference? Attachment is coming from this helplessness, weakness, whereas love comes from strength. That is the first difference. Attachment comes from weakness. You are feeling weak within, not able to stand on your own, therefore you require support of things, and then you relate to the object. That relationship is attachment. When you are relating to the object based on your inner weakness, that is attachment. So attachment source is weakness, whereas love comes out of strength. It is not that I am feeling lonely, therefore I love you. I am okay with myself, but still I love you. I don't need you, still I love you. Whereas in attachment, what? I need you, therefore I am attached to you. That's that. All right. Another thing is, in attachment, there is tendency to control the object, people, situation. When you are attached to someone, then you want to control that person. कहीं छोड़ के चला न जाए. So he should not go away. Leaving me, he or she should not go away. So you want to control. If he or she is looking at others, whom you are looking to, why you are looking so much? Control. So in attachment, there is a tendency to control. And you want that nobody should be attached to my object of attachment. I only should be attached. You become possessive. Whereas in love, you are happy that your beloved is loved by all. You feel happy about it. Whereas in attachment, you have fear that so many people are coming to my Swamiji, so my Swamiji will not give attention to me. So feel insecure. Whereas love is there, I am so happy, he is loved by all. It's such a nice thing. He is lovable, I am happy, his lovability is discovered by all. And in attachment, you have many times unreasonable expectation. What? That my object of attachment should not go away, should not change. Nothing should happen to him or her. He should live forever. That is what happens in this attachment. You lose sight of the reality. Means the empirical reality, not Satchidanand Brahma reality. The practical reality that everything is subject to change, everything is subject to disintegrate, everything is subject to be destroyed. These are the facts. Whereas in attachment, you want facts to be different for your object of attachment. Whereas in love, you are ready to accept fact. You are aware of facts. I love people, but if any one of them goes away, it is acceptable. People will go. People go means they die or they go away. I am ready to accept that possibility. When you are attached to the person, the very thought of departure of that person frightens you. No, Swami, I don't want to think about this. Very thought is frightening, startling. No, don't say like this. Whereas in love, you are not afraid of the facts about your object of love. Yes, he or she is with me today, any time can go. So there is objectivity in love, whereas so much subjectivity in attachment. And finally, when the object of love goes away, there is objective acceptance of the fact. Yes, this person was there in my life, I gave him love, he gave me love, and now time is up. It is like co-travelers. Nowadays people, they don't mingle with each other. It is higher class travel. As one Sudha Murthy, one author, she wrote, he said, as we go higher up in the journey, the train or aeroplane, the communication will be reduced. Communication between the co-passengers is inversely proportional to the class they are traveling. You see, in the second class, unresolved, they will mingle more. Second class, little there. Then AC3, little less. AC2, further less. AC1, they will be little. That's what happens. But in those days we used to travel, we share our food, because generally food will not be available so much on the station, so we used to carry, we share with each other, we talk. And in fact in India we don't have concept of privacy. We talk everything. Oh, what is your father doing, mother doing, how much they are earning, how many children are there, how many married, not married, everything we ask. We didn't have concept of privacy. Only now we are learning. And the people from abroad, they can't handle this. They are asked that, are you married? First question. They can't say married also, not married also. Something they have situation. Whereas in India, he said, no, my one daughter in our family got married but came back. Papas aa gayi. बोल देते हैं. So we travel and we share. But when the station of the other person comes, we are ready to let go. We'll say, हाँ आना बाद में मिलना ऐसा. Sometimes we share, they exchange the addresses also. Most of the time not, but is share. That's all. But we accept the fact that person is traveling with me, and one day his station comes, gets down. We'll get down. That is where love is. Love is you are ready to let go of that person from your life. It's not that you wish him to go away, then it is not love. That is a hatred. But you are ready to let go. You enjoy people when they are there, but you don't feel depressed when they are not there. That is freedom. That is why love comes out of that pulpit, real love. Otherwise nowadays people will this, I think I love you word is used perhaps maximum. One sentence, I think it is in some year it was maximum used sentence, I love you, if I remember correctly. But it is simply love. In fact, people use the word love very easily. When I was growing, we did not use the word love. I cannot say anybody just like, Amma, I love you. How can I say? So I really had this. Even to write the word dear, I had a difficulty. I said, dear can write husband and wife only. So that orthodox. Anyway, that apart. So in love, you have acceptance when there is departure of that person. Departure need not be death. Somehow that person is now busy with something or left his place, therefore not in touch. All right. And he doesn't contact. Many people they ask Swamiji, oh, I did not contact you, Swamiji, for a very long time. I feel so sorry. I said, you did not feel sorry. See, we are like doctors. So you go to the doctor, does he tell you, oh, for 5 years you did not come? Abhi aage, no contact, no message. Does doctor tell you like that? No. If you have difficulty, you go. If you don't go, doctor is happy that they say no news is good news. So that's how people tell me after 5 years, I said, yes, don't feel that, oh, Swamiji, I have some work or something. Yes, I am ready. Not that, oh, 5 years you did not contact me, now you are contacting me, then you take a cooling period 5 years after 5 years. There is no such thing. Ready, if person doesn't have to, it's good. So love means acceptance of the departure, going away of that person, physically or distance wise. Whereas attachment, you keep on asking. Many parents have this. See, Swamiji, my son doesn't send me SMS, doesn't send me WhatsApp. I sent him WhatsApp and I saw the blue tick. That's another problem now. Earlier we did not know whether mail has reached or not, so we thought we give benefit of doubt. What? That person might not have read. Now we see blue tick also, blue tick mark, you read and still did not message. This is attachment. other person should do like this, and if somebody goes away from my life, I can't accept. I feel so depressed. Many people commit suicide. That is attachment. Don't say out of love we sacrifice. Attachment. So when it is said Vishaya Saktam, Asaktam, Asamantat Saktam, completely attached to the objects, people and situation, that is bandhaya, that becomes the cause for bondage. What type of bondage? When you have attachment, then you will have obsessive thinking about that person, about that object. That is bondage. Means you do not have choice what you should think. Your free will is taken away, as it were. That is bondage. When you are attached to someone, then what happens? There is a compulsive thinking, obsessive thinking about that person. Even if you do not want, that person comes to your mind. Even classic comes. Oh, what he must have done, what she must have done, comes. Obsessive thinking. All right. And another thing is, this asakti, the attachment, leads to helpless action. Means you have to go for it. You have to do things for that object, that situation. And there are helpless reactions. Anger will be there, anxiety will be there, and all these are bondage. Bondage in the form of this compulsive thinking, obsessive thinking, bondage in the form of helplessly doing actions for that object, that person, and also the reaction in the form of anger, jealousy. When you are attached to somebody and somebody else is trying to get into the relationship with that person, feel jealous? So much. All these are bondage. That is the bondage we are familiar with. And from the standpoint of the Shastra, which goes deeper into this idea of bondage, because of attachment, what happens? You have different desires. In fact, attachment themselves lead to desire, or attachment themselves can be seen in the form of desires. So those attachments will lead to action. Action will create the punya papa will continue the janma marana. Not only that, action will create the result will create the samskara, vasanas will create desire, again there will be karma. So you will be in the cycle of samsara. That is why it is said, Vishaya Saktam Bandhaya. When the mind is attached to someone, it is bandhaya. It is cause for bondage. And Muktyai Nirvishayam Smritam. Here we have to supply mind. Nirvishayam Manaha. There also Manaha. Vishaya Saktam Manaha Bandhaya. Bandhakaranam Smritam. Similarly, mind which is Nirvishayam, free from the objects of desire, attachment. Muktyai is the cause for freedom. So the mind which is Nirvishaya, Nirvishaya means free from the objects of desire, in other words, free from desire, that mind is the cause for mukti, cause for freedom. So the mind which is free from obsessive desires, attachment, that mind is smrutam, considered to be muktya, considered to be the means for freedom. And here also, immediately speaking, this mind is nirvishaya means it is free from the hold of likes and dislikes. And initially it will be in relative sense. The freedom from the hold of the objects of likes and dislikes, or freedom from likes and dislikes, will be in relative sense. because of viveka, because of this karma yoga, because of upasana, the mind is relatively free from this attachment. And finally, the mind will become free from this misconception about the world, misconception about oneself. Then completely nirvishayam. What is the misconception about the world? Two misconceptions. One is this world is having independent existence apart from me. And other is the world is the source of my happiness and even source of my unhappiness. Both are wrong. Considering the world to be the source of happiness is wrong. Considering the world to be source of unhappiness also is wrong. Sukhasya dukkhasya kopi na data paro dadati iti kubuddhi resha. Very beautifully says, Sukhasya dukkhasya kopi na data. Nobody outside is the giver of happiness or sorrow. Paraha dadati. Somebody else is giving me sukha and dukkha. It is kubuddhihi. It is a wrong thinking. But that is considered to be right thinking. Swamiji, I found out who is responsible for my dukkha. My mother-in-law, or my brother-in-law, or some law, or my brother. Sometimes it happens, that people go for this past life therapy. And in past life, he comes to know what, that that my friend now was responsible for my spiritual distraction. Because of her, I was distracted from spirituality. Now what happened? Now you say, I am in samsara because of this person. Already we have got in present life so many people whom we consider to be the source of dukkha. Everybody has a list. Swamiji, I am dukhi because of this. Paro dadati. Somebody else gives you dukkha. That also is wrong. Nobody gives you sukha. Nobody gives you dukkha. But what is our thinking? Swamiji, my brother gives me sukha and my brother-in-law gives me dukkha. Or other way around. My Swamiji, brother-in-law is very good. Mera sala bahut acha hai. So, but my brother Swamiji always against me. So that is a wrong thinking. It is called shobhanadhyasaha, ashobhanadhyasaha. As long as you are thinking that the world is responsible for your sukha or dukkha, you have not really become spiritual. A person is considered to be spiritual in real sense, started to be spiritual only when he stops blaming the world for one's sukha and one's dukkha, especially dukkha. Stop blaming the world. Yes, some physical pain somebody might have caused, but sorrow is not caused by anybody outside. You take up the responsibility. He said something. Yes, it is in his hand. It is in his tongue. It is under his control. But how to take his words, that is under my control. I can take it as a prattling. He just blabbered something. Or he doesn't understand what he is saying. And if I take it in a right spirit, it's something like, some fellow who is mad and he is shouting at me something. Will I feel bad about it? No. Oh, he is a mad, he escaped from the mental asylum. So I will not feel bad about it. Similarly, this person right now he is mad. In the US, any person angry is called mad. That's Puja Swamiji was telling. He said, Swami was telling that one elderly man came to him. He is from India. And he says, Swamiji, my grandchildren they keep on asking me, are you mad? Are you mad? Swamiji, am I mad, Swamiji? But really, it's a good word in a way. It's not a very, this pleasant word. But really speaking, when you are angry, in a way you are mad. Because mad person is the one who does not have discrimination of appropriateness. What is good, what is not good, what is right, what is not right. That one who doesn't know is called mad. In anger, exactly that happens. In anger, you lose your discrimination. Therefore, in a way, it is a good. I also didn't like first. You are using such a high, strong word for angry. So, people, you consider that the people are making you unhappy, angry. That is not correct. Own up your responsibility. He said this. It's not right thing to do for him from the standpoint of dharma. But I became sorrowful, that is my contribution. That is because of my foolishness. That is because of my way of seeing things wrongly. You don't blame others. As long as you are blaming the world for your unhappiness, sadness, you can never own up the responsibility. Your spiritual pursuit has not started. You are studying Vedanta for 20 years, but still you are blaming somebody for your unhappiness, for your sorrow. Your spiritual pursuit is not yet started. Stop blaming the world. But does it mean, Swamiji, I should blame myself? No. Don't blame the world. Don't blame yourself. Then what? Own up the responsibility for having wrong way of thinking. Don't blame yourself. Suppose you fall sick, do you blame yourself? You don't blame, you take responsibility. Yes, something went wrong, so I have to take care, that's all. Oh, I am so guilty, Swamiji, I am having fever. Do you think like this? You think, some people may be thinking like this. They have some little bit more problem. Not only physical problem, mental problem also. So, you just own up the responsibility. And yes, I became sad or I got angry because of my improper attitude based on wrong understanding. Thus, my wrong understanding about the world is responsible for dukkha. So that is to be corrected. So first thing is my shobhanadhyasa, ashobhanadhyasa. Second is what? We are talking about how nirvishayam. So I correct the mistake about seeing the world. First mistake is what? Considering the world to be source of happiness and unhappiness. That mistake I correct. I tell you, if this much you do, you stop blaming the world, stop blaming yourself for your pleasure and, happiness and sadness, then you have grown up quite a bit in this pursuit. Second mistake we do about the world is we give independent reality. That we stop by knowing myself to be adhishthanam of everything. And also, I stop superimposing happiness on the world by knowing I am Ananda Swarupaha. I stop imposing this unhappiness on the world by knowing that I am Asanga Swarupaha. And that mind is called here Nirvishayam. So Nirvishayam immediately means Viraktam, the mind which is having dispassion. But in deeper sense, it means the mind which has discovered the true, they discovered the Mithyatvam of the Jagat and Purnatvam of oneself. So Nirvishayam Mukte Smritam. Smritam means considered. So what is the meaning of the second sentence? Vishaya saktam manaha, the mind which is attached to the object is the cause for bondage, and the mind which is free from the objects of desire, objects of attachment, that mind is considered to be the cause for freedom. So do you want freedom or you want bondage? Some people say, I don't mind, whatever, Swamiji. Do you want moksha? No, I don't want moksha. Because people think moksha means death. So, moksha, people reject sometimes. Swamiji, I don't want moksha. I want money, Swamiji. I want a good life partner. I want a good house. I don't want moksha. Moksha you keep, Swamiji. You give me all this. Why we reject? Because we do not know what moksha is. In life, many times we reject things because we do not know what they are. Generally, I give one dining hall example. Dining hall example is that now here we don't have that, but in some ashram they will serve food, different items. They have a rule also, twice or thrice they have to serve. Twice they serve and third time they have to say, this is last round. Puran, aise bolte hai Hindi mein. Puran means the last round. So 3 times they will come for serving. And we are waiting for payasam. Payasam is sweet one. Milk, sweet milk. I have to translate in English. Payasam, sweet porridge or something. Okay. So that payasam, we are waiting for it. And one by one the rice fellow comes, venda. This sambar venda. And this other fellow came and I said, venda. Then the next fellow said, Venu, I want. I am telling in Tamil, I don't know why. So I want. And when I see that he is giving him payasam, then what do? Come. You call the person back. First you said what? I don't want. Because you thought it is kadhi. Kadhi and payasam sometimes look alike. So you rejected. So many times you reject things in life because you do not know what you are rejecting. So many of your relatives will be say, we are not interested in moksha. Useless things. What will you do with moksha? If you get moksha, will your salary go up? Can you write in your CV that I got moksha, so increment will come? Nothing. You cannot write. What is the use, you tell me? After getting moksha, what will happen? Will you get money? Will you get some fame? So people reject. But when they understand what moksha is, let us understand what moksha is. Moksha is, different ways we can say. One way is, first I will tell you the scriptural way of seeing. Dukkhasya atyantika nivrittihi paramananda praptihi. That is called moksha. Complete removal of sorrow and attainment of the highest happiness is moksha. Now, do you want it or not? If now it is asked, Swamiji, I want Paramananda. Paramananda means what? The Ananda which does not go away from you. Other Ananda is what? Comes and goes. Whereas Paramananda means that which does not leave you. And Dukkha Nivritti, removal of Dukkha, means complete, absolute removal of Dukkha. That is called Atyantika Dukkha Nivritti. That is moksha, and that is what everybody wants. If I ask you, do you want to be happy? You will say what? Yes or no? Yes. Then I ask you further, do you want to be happy in the morning or evening? You will say both. Do you want to be happy when you are relating to people or when you are not relating to people? Both. So you want that happiness which is all the time available in all situations, in all places, and that is called Paramananda. So moksha is Paramananda Prapti. And that Paramananda Prapti happens when the mind is nirvishayam. Initially, by Viveka, it has become Virakta, therefore Nirvishayam, and later on, by the knowledge that I am Purnaha, that mind has become Nirvishayam. That mind is the means for mukti, freedom, freedom from bondage. Thus, in this shloka, it was clarified that Ashuddham Manaha, which is Vishayasaktam Manaha, is the cause for bondage, and this Nirvishayam Manaha, the mind which is Shuddham Manaha, Kama Vivarjitam Manaha, is Mukti, is the means for freedom. So, Vishayasaktam Ashuddham Manaha Bandhaya Bhavati, and Shuddham Nirvishayam Manaha Mukti Bhavati. We can combine. And I just wanted to share one beautiful shloka which gives the connection between Kama and Sankalpa. The mind has got various desires because there are so many fancy Sankalpa, Shobhana Dhyasaha. This shloka is Kama janami te moolam sankalpat kila jayase. Natvam sankalpayishyami tena mena bhavishyasi. It's a very beautiful shloka. This shloka comes in Mahabharata. Mahabharata is 100,000 verses. 18 parvas, 18 cantos are there. One parva means canto, means big volume it will be. One parva is called Shanti Parva, Mahabharata. After Mahabharata war was over, then Yudhishthira became the king, but he was not happy king. That's why they say, in war, nobody really wins. Nobody really wins. Because the loser is of course loser, but one who wins also would have lost so many near and dear ones. And therefore, Yudhishthira also was very sad. And then what? One good thing that because of his good background, he does satsanga with so many people. Narada, Vedavyasa. And in that context, in Shanti Parva, chapter number 177, chapter number, not shloka, chapter number 177 in Shanti Parva, 25th shloka is this: Kama janami te moolam. O desire, I know your root. Sankalpat kila jayase. You are born because of sankalpa, fancy, shobhana dhyasaha, superimposition of happiness, security, etc. So your root I have understood. Like we have understood the root of the problem, then we should attack the root. And therefore here it is said, Natvam sankalpa ishyami. O desire, I will not entertain you at the level of sankalpa alone. Sankalpa alone gets modified into kama. So I will not entertain you at the sankalpa level itself. Tena mena bhavishyasi. Because of that you will not be there for me. And this is uttered by one Muni whose name is Monkey. Not English monkey, Sanskrit monkey. That monkey wanted to earn some money. He thought that why I have to depend upon others for food and all. Let me earn something. So he did so many things but did not work. So finally he bought some land and he wanted to do farming. And for that he requires some bulls. And so he wanted to train the bulls. 2 bulls he took with a yoke on that, both of them, one wooden member. And he was going to the farm, and on the way one camel came. And camel, perhaps the path must be very narrow or something, the camel got stuck. He hit this bull, perhaps he might not have seen, whatever. Camel got stuck with the wooden members which is joining these 2 bulls. And camel was so powerful, it lifted up these wooden members along with the bulls and started running. Then this monkey also followed for some time. Then afterwards, all of a sudden he thought, my God, what am I doing? Just some fancy came that I should have my own resources for Bhiksha and all. Therefore, all these things happened. And then he got rid of Vairagya. So here the sloka conveys one important idea is that if you want to manage kama at its root level, then the fancy level itself you handle it. Whenever you are entertaining this Shobhana Dhyasa, how nice it is, how nice it is, ask this question. Is it required for my pursuit of moksha? Is it required? Is it a distracting factor or helping factor? Sometimes distracting factor may appear like helping factor. Certain things are harmful, but they appear like helpful. So you analyze well and don't allow this build up. A single thought is not a problem. You thought of Benz car and immediately displayed by hamare nasib mein Benz car kya hai. So in our luck, what Benz car will not be there. You dismiss. That Benz car thought will not disturb you. Over. But you have some possibility of loan and all this. Then Benz car thought, now so many models are there. Which model? Second hand to kam se kam mil jayega. So second hand. So you allow that thought to be built up. Then it becomes a desire. So what is to be done is, when this first time it comes, that time itself you nip in the bud. Is it required? Not required. Drop it. This is how this nirvishayam smritam. Now in the next sloka, based on the second sloka, that mind which is nirvishaya is the means for moksha, what a mumukshu has to do, that is said in the next sloka. Yato nirvishayasya, yato nirvishayasya manaso muktirishyate ato nirvishayam nityam manah karyam mumukshuna. Okay, I have to just get into it. Mana eva manushyanam. Okay. Yato nirvishayasya manaso muktirishyate ato nirvishayam nityam manah karyam mumukshuna. Like musicians, no, they will have always the Shruti box. So similarly, I go to Shruti box. They have got Shruti box, something like, a small will be there, that they put it in their mouth, poo, poo, or something they do and they get the tune. Is that something like that? Mouth Shruti box? Huh? Pitch pipe. I have seen one lady doing that. So I remember that. Okay, you go that. Pitch pipe, okay. So, because generally we have got Bhagavad Gita tune. Okay. So I am also getting into this. Okay. So what is said here? Yataha, since asya nirvishayasya manasaha muktihi ishyate. Yataha means since the mind, asya, this mind, of this mind which is nirvishaya, free from the objects of desire, means free from the desire. Nirvishaya immediately means free from the objects and objects of desire, and therefore practically it means free from desires. The mind which is free from the desires, muktihi ishyate, freedom is accepted. So freedom ishyate means accepted, considered. For the mind or of the mind which is free from the desire of the objects, freedom is accepted, freedom is considered. In putting in simple words what it means, since the mind which is free from desires becomes the means for freedom, therefore it will be said something in the next sentence. So the first half of the shloka is paraphrasing what has been told in the previous shloka, making it the basis for further statement. In the previous shloka it was said, Muktye nirvishayam smritam, that idea is restated. Since the mind which is free from the desire is considered to be the means for moksha, ataha, therefore, manaha nirvishayam karyam, the mind should be made, karya means should be made. The mind should be made what? Nirvishayam, free from desires. But Swamiji, I can make the mind free from desires. When I am sleeping. No, nityam, always. Make the mind should be made free from desire. By whom? Mumukshuna, by the person who is desirous of freedom. By a person who is desirous of freedom, the mind should be made free from desire. Here, one thing to be noted importantly is, desire by itself is not a problem. In fact, desire is an expression of the Ichha Shakti of Ishvara. Desire per se, desire by itself is not a bondage. In fact, Bhagavan also has desire. So kamayata. In Upanishad it comes, Bhagavan desired what? Bahusyam, let me become many. Let me create this world. So Bhagavan has desire. If desire itself is a bondage, then Bhagavan should be bound. In fact, Bhagavan had a very big desire. You have desired to make one house, 1500 square feet house, whereas Bhagavan had desired to make the entire world. Huge desire. So Bhagavan should be bound maximum. From that what we understand, that desire itself is not a bondage. But dependence upon the fulfillment of the desire to be happy and fulfilled, that is bondage. That makes the desire binding. Dependence upon the fulfillment of desire for happiness. I depend upon the fulfillment of desire. If my desire is fulfilled, I am happy. If it is not fulfilled, I am sad, I am depressed. That type of dependence upon the fulfillment of desire, that creates bondage, or that is bondage. Otherwise, desire is considered to be the vibhuti of Ishvara. In 7th chapter, Bhagavan says, Dharma viruddho bhuteshu kamospi bharatarshava. So, the desire which is not opposed to dharma, which is not obsessive desire, opposed to dharma implies that obsessive, unrighteous desire, the desire to do something which is against dharma. If it is not like that, it is desire which is not opposed to dharma, then it is my glory. In fact, because of desire of the Lord alone creation happened. Because of some desire of some Mahatma, Pujya Swamiji, this ashram is there. If he did not have desire, then it will not happen. But if Swamiji also had desire, isn't he bound? That desire doesn't make him bound, but the dependency did not have. If it happened, fine. Did not happen, fine. He had very big ashram somewhere, and when situation arose, he was ready to give it to somebody. Okay, you take it. He said, okay. He did not have such thing. And he was in one ashram, he left it. He used very beautiful sentence, Vimuktasya vimuchyate. I was already free. Free I was from that ashram, now it is further free, differently free. That is what makes the person free, not depending upon the fulfillment of desire for happiness. That is why when we say that mind should be made free from desire, really speaking, the mind should be made free from the dependence upon desire for happiness. More about this we will see in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi